Hey there, friends. Welcome back to HerbNerd TV. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been stirring up conversations and raising eyebrows everywhere. Microplastics in your bottled water. You grab a bottle of water thinking you're choosing a clean, safe hydration option, but what if there's more to it than meets the eye? Are these tiny plastic particles silently invading your body, and what does it mean for your health? Let's uncover the truth behind microplastics in bottled water and see what you're really drinking. First, let's break down what microplastics actually are. Microplastics are tiny plastic particles, typically less than 5 millimeters in size, that result from the breakdown of larger plastic debris or manufactured at a microscopic size for use in products like cosmetics and cleaning agents. These minuscule particles have infiltrated almost every part of our environment, including our drinking water. The prevalence of microplastics in bottled water. So, how prevalent are microplastics in your bottled water? Recent studies have shown that a significant number of bottled water brands contain microplastic particles. For instance, a study conducted by the State University of New York found that almost 93% of bottled water samples tested contained microplastics. These particles can originate from several sources, including the packaging itself, as the plastic bottles can shed tiny fragments over time, especially when exposed to heat or repeated use. Health impacts. What the science says, but what does this mean for your health? The presence of microplastics in drinking water is concerning, but the full extent of their impact on human health is still being studied. Here are some of the potential health risks associated with microplastic consumption. Chemical exposure. Microplastics can act as carriers for harmful chemicals like bisphenol A, BPA, phthalate, and heavy metals. These substances are known to be endocrine disruptors and have been linked to various health issues including hormonal imbalances, reproductive problems, and an increased risk of certain cancers. Inflammation and immune response. Studies suggest that ingesting microplastics may trigger inflammatory responses and immune system reactions. This could potentially lead to chronic inflammation, which is a risk factor for numerous diseases including heart disease, diabetes, and autoimmune disorders. Gut health. Microplastics can accumulate in the gastrointestinal tract, potentially disrupting the balance of gut microbiota. A healthy gut microbiome is essential for digestive health, immune function, and even mental well-being. Sources of microplastics in bottled water. Now, let's explore where these microplastics in bottled water come from. The primary sources include plastic packaging. The most significant source of microplastics in bottled water is the plastic bottles themselves. Polyethylene terephthalate, PET, the common plastic used for bottles, can degrade over time, especially when exposed to heat, light, or mechanical stress like shaking or squeezing, releasing tiny plastic fragments into the water. Bottling process. The machinery and equipment used in the bottling process can also contribute to microplastic contamination. Wear and tear on machinery parts made of plastic can shed microplastics into the water during production. Environmental contamination. Water sources used for bottling, such as rivers, lakes, and springs, can already contain microplastics from pollution and environmental degradation. These contaminants can make their way into bottled water before even entering the bottle. Scientific studies and findings. Let's take a look at some of the key scientific studies that have shed light on this issue. State University of New York study. This study analyzed 259 bottled water samples from 11 different brands and found that 86% of the samples contained microplastics. On average, each bottle contained 10.4 particles. University of Minnesota research. Researchers found that microplastics were present in 83% of bottled water samples they tested. The types of plastics identified included polypropylene, polyethylene, and polystyrene. World Health Organization (WHO) report. In 2019, the WHO released a report stating that while the presence of microplastics in drinking water is concerning, the current evidence does not allow for definitive conclusions about the health risks. However, it emphasized the need for further research to fully understand the implications. Consumer tips. How to reduce your exposure. So, what can you do to reduce your exposure to microplastics in your bottled water? Here are some practical tips. Choose alternatives to bottled water. Opt for filtered tap water using a high-quality water filter that can remove microplastics. Reverse osmosis and carbon filters are effective at reducing plastic particles. Use glass or stainless steel bottles. If you prefer to carry water with you, consider using glass or stainless steel bottles instead of plastic ones. These materials do not shed microplastics and are more eco-friendly. Avoid heating plastic bottles. Never expose plastic bottles to high temperatures, like leaving them in a hot car or using them in a microwave. Heat accelerates the degradation of plastic and increases microplastic shedding. Limit plastic use. Reduce your overall use of plastic products in daily life to minimize your overall exposure to microplastics. This includes avoiding single-use plastics and choosing products with minimal plastic packaging. Support sustainable brands. Choose bottled water brands that are committed to sustainability and packaging innovations that reduce microplastic contamination, such as using biodegradable or recyclable materials. Stay informed. Keep up with the latest research and regulations regarding microplastics in drinking water. Awareness is key to making informed choices about your water consumption. Conclusion. Sip smartly and safely. In conclusion, while bottled water remains a convenient hydration option, the presence of microplastics is a growing concern that we can't ignore. These tiny plastic particles pose potential health risks that warrant further research and action. By making informed choices, such as opting for filtered tap water, using non-plastic containers, and reducing overall plastic use, you can protect your health and contribute to a safer environment. What do you think? Have you considered the impact of microplastics in your drinking water, and what steps are you taking to reduce your exposure? Let's get the conversation started in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this eye-opening exploration of the hidden dangers of microplastics in your bottled water. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to HerbNerd TV for more discussions on critical and thought-provoking health topics. Until next time, stay curious and drink smart.